or we can export it as an Excel, or we can take a screenshot of the whole screen and maybe send it through an email. And all those things we can enable using the custom controls. So this is where we use it. And there are a certain types of controls which are compatible with Canvas app, model driven apps, and Power Apps portals. So this is where we are going to use custom controls. This also empower developers and app makers to create something that is not available by default. So as we know, we have different type of applications, and based on those types, we can configure individual controls. Also, these custom controls can be used to overcome the limitations of the platform. Like I just gave you a few examples about the printing of the screen or exporting the data as an Excel, or maybe we can, as part of this demo, I am going to show you a PCF where there is an iframe component, and we can just pass the URL, and with that URL, it is going to render something on the screen, whatever URL I have passed. Let's say if I have passed the URL of Bing Maps or Bing API. So that way I can directly see that on my Canvas app based on the height and width of the control. And also we can enable Power Virtual Agents as part of the Canvas apps using such controls. So let's go ahead and see what are the types of components we have. So there are two types of components, Canvas components and PCF controls, which is Power Apps component framework. Canvas components is usually based on what controls we have in the Canvas app already. We can create a component using those controls only by creating some variables collection and all those logical things. With that, we can export that component and import them into our other applications. This is something we are building from out of the box controls. We are not going to focus on this one as part of this demo. What we are going to do is for the PCF controls. These controls are built using the TypeScript code in the backend. You can also integrate HTML with that. So those controls which are based on code, they can be imported into our applications. And this is what we call as PCF, Power Apps Component Framework. There are again two types of PCF control. There is a property which we can define, like what would be the template type of my PCF control. There are two options. It could be a field type or it could be a data set type. For Canvas apps, only the field type PCF control is supported just yet. And for model driven apps, both the types are supported. So when we are building any component for the Canvas app, we have to use the field type to make it work on the app. Now let's go ahead and see at a few prerequisites that are needed for the components. For Canvas components, since this is already present in the editor, we can drag and drop all the controls that are available. So this is something like we do not require any prerequisites. It's just low code, no code. You can drag and drop the controls and configure the properties. For PCF controls, we would need a Microsoft organizational account with appropriate licenses and everything, so that when we are pushing that control into our environment, we should be able to use it. Then we need a Visual Studio IE or some similar development environment where we can actually write the code. And once it's completed, we can test it and push it directly into our environments. And a little bit of knowledge of TypeScript, because this is what we do as part of the implementation. We can write multiple lines of code in TypeScript and define the elements that we want to see as part of the component. Okay, so now moving forward, we have a few resources that you can use while getting started to build your first component. You can anytime refer to Microsoft documentation. It's like a very explained documentation, and you can get to know about each of the individual components, which include like what is a init function and how it runs, and what are the different types of parameters and all those things exist. So you can get all the information about that from the Microsoft documentation, and there are certain other resources which you can refer to. So PCF Gallery is one of the major resources. What PCF Gallery is, like whenever we create some PCF control, we can get that published to the PCF Gallery, and it's open source. Anyone can go in and download that control. If you want to add some tweaks, you can do that and republish it. And if you're fine with the way that the component is, you can directly import it and utilize in the apps. There are again two ways, that depends on like how the developer has shared the component. So it might be possible that they have directly shared a managed solution which can be imported directly into the environment. Or second is like they have given you access to their GitHub repository where the code is there. So before, like when you try to push a GitHub repository code, we may need to take a few steps so that all the dependent libraries and everything is in place. Because like when I push, let's say I have built a component, I push that to GitHub repository. There is a git ignore file which protects my personal information and all those things. So some of the files might be missing. So we can take a few steps, like 2 or 3 steps, and we can easily push that control to our environment. So these are like a few resources we can refer to while starting to build our components. Let's go ahead. Okay, so now let's see what we actually do, or how is our demo is going to look like, and let's see how we can start building our first control. Okay, so here is like I have opened a command line here on my screen. One command that I have already run here is like pack install latest. What this command does is it installs all the latest version of any of the packages, be it anything, and it just refreshes my stack configuration, you can say. But I have run this command before our demo because this usually takes some time. It might take 5 to 10 minutes to actually import all the components. So that is why I have already triggered this command. And now, as you can see here, it installed all the packages, and then it it took care of all the dependencies. And if there was any version increment for any of these things, they are all updated. So now let's see how we can start building a control for ourselves. So first thing, most important thing is like we need to make sure that we are on the correct path. So let's make a folder for this one. Okay, so I have already created a folder for ProDev, our session today. Now let's make a new folder. I'll call it my first component. Then let's move to that directory. And since we want all the configurations and everything to be inside a single folder, let's make a source folder as well, mkdir src, and then I can move to that folder. If I am going to do a list of like what exists in my folder right now, so you can see this is empty. Now we want to start building the component. So the command for that is like pack pcf init, and then name of my PCF. So let's say my PCF 123. Okay, you can give a name whatever you want for this PCF at here. And then I want to provide a namespace. Let's call this BTD. Again, this is, you have the flexibility of changing this name to anything you want. And then finally, what is the template type? So as I mentioned previously, for Canvas app, only field type is supported. And if you are building a component for model-driven app, you can choose between a data set as well. The difference between the two is like in model-driven app form, field PCF can be applied where we have a single field, and data set one can be applied where we have a subgrid. So that's like the differentiation between the two. So let's go ahead and create this component. So as you can see, now this project was successfully created in this folder I just created. Now I need to run this command npm install so that all my dependencies are configured properly. Let's do a quick check of what we have in this folder now. So we have this folder where we can configure the code for my PCF. Then we have a package.json file and PCF project, all these files which are, for setting up the configuration. If there is anything, let's say you want to disable the custom errors and all those things, those kind of settings can be configured in these files. And then there is a git ignore file, which is again what I was talking about some time before. If you are pushing this PCF to, let's say, an open source platform, git ignore files, it has all the it has all the details about what will be restricted from getting on a public platform. Let's say even this directory path, it should not be there on the GitHub repository. So that is why we have this git ignore file. So now let's do this. Open this code in Visual Studio Code. So, okay, now I have this control here. And okay, so one step I just missed is like it asked me to install the npm directory is, which I have skipped. So let's do that first instead of opening this directly. Npm install. So it is like, as you can see here, it is fetching all the required plugins and everything. One other thing is like there are certain libraries or dependencies that exist already, but in case you want to configure an additional third-party npm package, you can also do that. So there is like an npm install command through which that component can be, configured directly for this control, and with reference like include this file in my specific TypeScript file. I'll be getting to that in a minute, so that we can actually see how it is referenced, or maybe I'll have an example in place already. So yeah, this HTML to Canvas is a third-party npm package, and if we were to import this as part of my index file, I can write something like, okay, import everything as this name from my HTML to Canvas package, npm package. So that is how you can install third-party packages and reference them into your PCF component. So now my dependencies and everything is installed. Let's open this in editor now so that we can see like what all exists as part of this. So talking about the structure here, so we have this component here, and then we have the generated file, which will store all the logs and everything. The main two files that we are actually going to modify is index.ts file, where we are going to write all the code, be it like what I want to render when the control is set at the first time. This init function runs when my component is loaded. And in PCF controls, we have a few parameters, something like if I have some variables, environment variables, and I want to take values from those, you can say parameters, and apply those in my code here directly. Since these values will be dynamic, we would want to change them. Like, let's say if I have changed a parameter test to test1, it should be automatically updated, and all the process and triggers, they should be updated accordingly. So this is where the update view function comes into picture. As soon as I make any changes to any of the values or the parameters properties, this update view function is going to trigger. Then I can handle like, okay, when this function triggers, what all do I want to update? Do I want to update some value on my component, and what all I want to do? So that is something we can configure in the update view function. Then we have a get output function. So we have two different types of parameters. It could be an input parameter or an output parameter. In get outputs, we define what value should be returned as part of execution for this PCF. Let's say I have taken an input. Let's say, this is just a vague example, please. So let's take an example. I want to perform some addition, and I have defined two variables, A and B. Now, as part of output, I want to return C, which is like addition of these two. I can pass those parameters as like in my manifest file, like properties. And then I can define this get output property and define that, okay, C will be equal to A plus B. This is how like the output works. And finally, the destroy function is like, if you want to clean up the resources and the control, we can utilize the destroy function. This is like, also we have a constructor function if something we want to call as soon as the class is called, so then we can use this constructor function as well. One other major thing about the PCF while we are starting to build is properties. So as you can see, there is a sample property already in place, which gets created as soon as I spin a PCF control. So let's see what all we have here. Our property has a name and it has a display name key, a description if I want, I can give. Then this is like a major properties out of these. Of type is like what data type or what type my parameter or property is going to have the value for. Then the usage is like, will it going to be an input property or an output property? Bound means input. So if we have an output property, we can define this usage as output. And then finally, this property required equals to true is like, so we can have 10 different properties, but let's say I have a requirement, I want a specific property A to have some data. I can flag it as required here in the code, and whenever my PCF it's like it's in run mode, we can expect that to, until this parameter is complete, it is going to give some error and all those things. So this is how we can mark something as required as well. Also, we can add some resources for my PCF. If I have a custom CSS file, or if there is any other type of file, a resource that I can attach to my PCF, I can add those files in my PCF package and reference them here in resources directly. I can also change the order for these files. So let's say I have two different CSS files and I want first the second one to take priority, I can change the order for that as well. Okay, so let's see. So this is about like the structure of how it looks, this component, and let's see how we can run this and actually see the editor or a test framework. We can, see actually what's going on in the PCF. So for installing all the components, we first need to run a build on this component. So npm run build. So as soon as I run this command, it is going to trigger some functions in the backend, and I can see a out folder here, which has the details about like my controls and everything. So once this execution is completed, my solution run is successful. Now I can npm start watch. So this is how I can see the test IE for this PCF. If I'm going to make any changes on the screen here, they are going to be reflected in this test. Yeah. So as you can see, this is a PCF control sandbox, and the sample property we had in the control manifest file, it's also there, and we can see, okay, the type is a single line of text and this should be the value. I can also define a default value in case I want to set some property as default. Then I can do that directly. Here in the control manifest file, after required, I can add a different new something like, okay, default value, and I can write ABCD. So this is how like we can also configure the properties of these parameters. So if I change anything here, right now nothing is configured, but let's see how we can actually write a few lines of code as part of this PCF. So let me go back and I'll show you a few resources about the PCFs. So this is the PCF gallery I was talking about. And there are, I'm sorry, there are a number of controls that you can actually download, or you can get it as a managed solution and all those things, and you can import them into your environments and use as per your applications. So this is a place where you can check if you're, facing any issues or having any, you can say, having some problems with like, or any limitations. So you can check this out, PCF gallery. Then, so I am going to tell you about this iframe PCF, which is like, so as part of this PCF, there is a parameter property. And in that parameter, I can pass the URL of anything. It can be a page or something. It should be publicly accessible first thing. So that's how like the iframe works. And then I can utilize that URL and show like what all is there on the screen. So this is a PCF built by Yash, and I am going to use that as a reference for like how you can start building that. So let's see this. I am going to clone his repository. Let's go back here, and this is how like you can use the component, and if you want you can edit that and move forward with it. So let's do this. I'm going to move this out. Let's make this folder mkdir GitHub, and then I'm going to move to that. Now I'll clone this repository. So now it will like download all the files, what all is there as part of the PCF. So we have our PCF here. So it has a solution file, it has a source file, then there are managed and unmanaged solution. But like if we are going to implement this, if we want to make any changes to this, we need to do that in the source folder. And here are also like the managed and unmanaged solution for the iframe. So if you don't want to go this way, like cloning the GitHub repository and then updating your changes and push it back, you can directly import the managed and unmanaged solutions. So now I can see, okay, that the GitHub repository is cloned. So let's do this. Iframe PCF. Then I can see, okay, what all was there on the GitHub, it's now replicated. Now let's move to source folder. And okay, so we have all the packages and everything. Now I'll open this in Visual Studio. So now, as you can see, we do not have the out folder and all the dependencies as part of this PCF, because when this PCF was pushed to GitHub, the gitignore file, it restricted some of the data. So what I can do is now again, I can do npm install. So it will, again, the same procedure we did for while creating a new PCF. So while this is getting completed, let's go into the index.ts file and see how the component actually looks like. So when we are defining a PCF control, we have to identify what elements are going to be displayed as part of it. So we can define those something like, okay, I'm defining a iframe element, which is of type HTML iframe element. And so this is how like a definition is made here. Then I can define the properties and you can say activate this element in the init function. Init function is called when I am rendering my component on the screen. So this is like the first function that gets called out. And in the init function, we can define what all properties it is going to have. So if you can, let's take this as a reference, iframe ELEM. So this is the name of my component I have defined here. Then I can reference it using this function. So it's like self-reference. For the functions, and we have already defined all the context and notify output changed and container, which is like what will be displayed as part of the component. I am going to show you that in a second so that it's like clearly visible, like what the container looks like. And then we can define like, okay, we have a parameter here in the control, yeah, manifest input file. So in the component that we just created, it's like a similar structure, but the name of property is changed. Now we have a source property, which is where we are going to give the URL. Let's say I want to, show the Bing page. I can pass that URL in src property, and that will be displayed on the screen. Everything else is same, like, okay, this is a single line of text because that's how the URL is going to look. And this is a bound, which is input property. And since for an iframe PCF to work properly, we need the required field. No, not the required. We need the source. So that is why we have marked this as required. Now let's go back here and see, okay, now I'm checking if this source folder has this src property has some value. So I am using a if loop here. So check, okay, that the value exists. And if it exists, then assign this value to the source of my iframe element, whatever I have defined here at the top. So this is how like I can reference each of the properties of different you can say element types, and I can pass the context from the source variable. Then I can define multiple properties like width and height, and also the frame border for this. Now coming back to the next line, which is for container. So assume this container to be like the whole window, which is going to be displayed on the screen. So I think I have opened this. So yeah, if I change this controller width to 200 and this height to 200 again, so now you can see that there is a box, which is like the container. Anything or any you can say any element that I'm going to append to this container, it's going to be inside it. I mean, if I have added, let's say, text here, so it is going to come on at here, not something on a different place. So I am going to enclose all the elements inside this container only, and that's what I'm doing here with this container dot append child, and then adding this iframe element. Now first time this when I open this you can say this component, it is rendered on the screen. Now what if I want to if I change the source, what is going to happen? Is it going to update the value or update the URL that's displaying as part of iframe? So the answer is no. By default, it will not change anything until I have configured it individually. So that is where our update view function comes into picture. So now I can again check this. Okay, now I'll check if my source has some value. If it has some value, then I can update the iframe element source. So let's say if I have passed abc.com while I was showing this component for the first time, and then the next time I changed it to def.com. So whatever was getting displayed as part of abc.com should now show def.com. So that is where we have this update view function. It is going to update whatever parameters have changed. One other thing is like this is just for changing the properties. What if I want to change some value and trigger a button? So in that case, I can call out this notify output change button. And with that, if there is anything changed, we can call this out, and the notify update changed function will, call that and perform some actions. So now I, reassign the source value. I again set the width and height of this. Right now, this is like a static value, but if you want, you can add a separate property here in the control manifest input. Right now we just have source, but we can add multiple other properties as well for height, width, and if there are any borders and all those things, we can configure in the control manifest file. Now let's go back and see, okay, now I have defined this frame border to be 0 and nothing else. So with this, like, I would say the changes that we have on this PCF is like almost 15 to 20 lines. And with those, it's about the logic, like whatever I want to implement as part of the PCF. So we can write that code. And if I import this PCF as part of the Canvas app, this is going to overcome the limitation of first, we can show any of the external URLs. Second is like we can also add Power Virtual Agents to our Canvas apps. Third one is like we can also embed Canvas apps in Canvas apps. So if I can pass the URL for a Canvas app in this iframe component, it will require authentication because that's how our Canvas app works. We need to be authenticated to use them, but you can embed a second Canvas app in your app as well. So this is like you can say the pros of having components where we can define like what additional functionality or what additional things I want my PCF to do. So let's check this. Okay, so we need to run this npm audit fix so that if there are any package mismatch, it is going to, fix that for me. So let's give it a some time. I guess it will be done in a few seconds. So in the meanwhile, what we can do is we can try to, okay, So let's do this. Okay, let me talk about the third-party NPM components. So let's say I have a few packages installed already, and if I want to utilize any third-party you can say package, I can reference here directly, like I am doing this for the manifest types. I can import that and use it directly. This if function, if this is not available directly because of any of the limitations, then you can anytime use variables to store the temporary values, and then this iframe element or any other PCF, then you can refer the this properties or something like that. Okay, so our audit is complete. Now let's do npm run build. Okay, so now as we can see, it is building out the components here. So now we can see the node modules and out, which were skipped like when this component was pushed to GitHub repository. So now I have all these bundle.js and all those files which is required to run this PCF. So now let's open this npm start watch. So it is like compiling that in the backend, and now it will give me an address. So since I have a component already that is running on that port, so it assigned me a different port, now 8181. So if I go here, this is giving me error because the source value, it should be a valid URL. So let's do this. I'll copy this Bing map URL and I'll paste it here. And as soon as I pasted this source, I can now see the Bing page. We can anytime work on the width and height of this component, but this is how it is going to work. This is an example of iframe element, but we can configure the same for different kinds of PCF controls. Now after this, we are going to look at a component which is going to print the whole Canvas app screen and send that image as an attachment in an email. So let's go ahead and do that. And after that demo, we are going to push this iframe PCF to the environment and see, okay, like if I have made any changes to the component, then how can I, make it available in my environment and use it. So let's quickly go to the second PCF now, which is the component to print the Canvas app screen. Let me quickly show you an example of like how this component works. So this is like I have a Canvas app in place. I built this PCF to take the screenshot of whole screen. So let's say this is how my app looks like, and I can just take a screenshot and send that in the email. By I mean, if I'm not using this component directly, the steps that I need to follow is like, first I'll have to take a screenshot and then save it and then send that in an email individually. And then, but here we can select the email IDs, and with that we can directly, send this picture as an email. So let's quickly see how this PCF looks like. So here I'm using a third-party NPM module, which is HTML to Canvas. So that was first imported as part of this solution, like we are running the commands for npm run build and all those. Similarly, we can import those components and define it like the values here. So here I'm importing this HTML to Canvas package, and then I'm assigning a variable to store something like, okay, I want to store this, whatever I have imported as an element, and include all the options and everything. Then, as in our last example, we needed an iframe element on the screen, but here our requirement is changed and we want to see a button instead. So I have defined something like, okay, the name is button, and the element that it is going to be is an HTML button element. Then I can define, okay, if there is anything changed and I want to trigger an event, so it should notify the output change. And then since this PCF returns a base 64 string, so we have a variable in place to store that. And then finally, we are using an output base again, that is a string to store some value. The only change here is we have as part of properties is like we have a few other properties for button text, button height, button color and size, font, background color, all these. So these are like the input properties. And there is one as output property. So now if I go here, the usage is now changed to output, which was bound in for the input properties. So all these six properties above are for input, and this last one is for output. So that's the difference on properties. Now let's go back to the code here. And again, if I'm going to go in the init function, I can see that the button is initiated first. Okay, a button element is created. Then I'll check if there is any button text provided as part of inputs. So if we found something, we can change the button's inner HTML, which is a property to store the button text. We can update that using this parameters. And then we can also define styles like, okay, I want this to be the background color, this to be the text color, and text size, font, and all those properties we can define using like what is provided in the this control manifest file. All the parameters are referenced here. Then we can also notify about the change. And the button we just created, we need to add something. Like if I click on this button, there should be a listener which actually triggers some event. So we have added that here, this button dot add event listener, and on click, this is going to bind the on button click function. And this is for like the button height, again, the same thing, like referencing the properties. Then finally, this button component is appended to the container we just saw, like the outer box for this PCF control. In the update view, we are doing the same things, like if any of the properties changed, we are updating the button configuration. So if I have changed the, let's say the button text and all those things, they'll be changed on the go. So that's about the properties. In the outputs, so like I talked about this here, we have a base 64 output input. Then this is a string, and this is what I am returning as a part of output here. So output is the name of the property I defined in control manifest, and this is the value, this dot base 64 output in. So this is like just a variable name. You can name it anything you want as per your PCFs. So that is how like the get properties, get output is defined. Then as part of this PCF, we had a function which gets triggered whenever that button is clicked. So here we have defined that in the init function. Okay, this button has an event listener, which is binded to on button click function. So this is the function here, on button click. What we are doing here is we are using this HTML to canvas npm library, and with that we are calling this function. So what we need to do is we just need to call this function, and whatever output is returned, it returns a base 64 string. So whatever this third party npm package is returning, we are saving that URL and replacing image.jpeg with image.octantstream. It's just like a string manipulation. I'm just changing, okay, the format should look something like whatever value I have, it is an octant stream. So that is like a conversion. And then I can assign this variable to, store that value and then apply it. Okay, let's see how this looks like in real. So here I have this PCF control. Okay, I need to redo that. Okay, I'll do this npm start watch. So it is going to compile that and again show me that test editor. And okay, so it's open. So now I can see there is a button on the screen, and if I change, let's say the text, I change this to 1 1. So you can see that this is like updated in real time here. So and we can also change different properties based on like what value I provide in each of these. Now let's do this, take a screenshot. I click this, and so now if I go to output properties, I can see an image. If I copy the content and Google, let's say convert base64 to image, I can go to this editor, and if I, okay, I think I pasted it twice. Okay, now it is. And if I generate this image, I can see what all the configuration of my editor was. Now it is here. And the same is happening for the app here. So I have added this component as part of my solutions that is pushed through the CMD. And I have this screenshot component, which I added on my screen here. So if I go to home, I can insert it, and then I can select like import components. This one is already important, but we can see like how we can import the component when that is pushed to our environment. So here is a code tab, and we can see all the different components that are pushed to the environment. So we have a screenshot, and we have Excel to export to Excel control, and then there is a auto address, which is for the model driven apps. So similarly, we can add multiple components here and add them to your apps. If you click on this insert icon, you can see that there is a screenshot component available. So if I click on this, it is going to add to the screen. Here I have one already, which is like take screenshot and send email. Let's try this out. 2 3 4 1 2. So this is like a calculation getting calculated in the backend. I can select who all I want to send this email to. So let's say I have selected all 4, and then I'm going to write, okay. I have just made some funny characters here, and I will click on this button, take screenshot and send email. It is going to, perform some operations in the backend, and as you can see, there is like a processing happening here. Then I got this confirmation like, okay, email sent successfully. If I go back here now and I open my email, I can see that this email is sent to all the persons I have selected as part of that app. And I can also see like, okay, this is what I just, this is how my screen looks like at the moment. And this is the signature and everything. So, I mean, this is useful in cases where you want to capture a screenshot and take that with you and save it for your reference at later times. So this is like how this PCF is built, and we can capture the screenshot of the whole screen and use that in your applications. One major thing about this, since I am using this environment actively for building the PCF controls, but if someone is trying to create their PCF for the first time, there is an advanced setting which we need to enable if we want to publish the Canvas apps with PCF controls. So by default we cannot publish that app, but we have, if we enable that setting in the admin settings, we can now see this code button. So if I go back here and I go to insert tab and custom and import components. So this code section that I'm seeing here, it's not enabled until we have that setting configured. So let's do this. Okay, now I am in, okay, not this one. Sorry, my bad. We can go to admin center and we can enable this setting for individual environments. So let's say if I want to, enable it for just demo environment or by the devs or any other environment, I can choose to individually allow it. So this Power Platform admin center is getting loaded. Okay. So now I can select that environment, which is like the demo environment in this case. So let it open. So yeah, now I can open this demo environment. And I can go to settings. And in product, I can go to features. So this is like Power Apps component framework for Canvas app. If this is enabled, then only I can see the code option here. Otherwise, it's not visible by default. So first we have to enable this to be able to use the PCF in my Canvas apps. one last piece is like how we are, going to push any of the PCFs to the environment. So let's see that. So let's see, we just exported this iframe component here. So the one we just cloned from the GitHub repository. So let's do this. Now I'll build this again just to check we are pushing the correct configuration, and if I have made any changes during this demo, so we'll get to know about it. Okay, so my build is successful. Now for pushing this to environment, we have to copy the URL. So if I go to advanced settings and customizations, I have a developer's resources. So this URL will be used to set up the authentication until this part only. HTTPS, then the organization code, then api.crm.dynamics.com. So I can copy this. I can go back to this PCF Visual Studio Code. I can write a command something like PAC authorization, short form that is auth, create, and then what is the URL for my environment. So I can paste this URL. If I click enter, so it is asking me to sign into my account. So I can select this one because we are using Ritika by the devs. So let me quickly log in. It requires code. So let me quickly enter that. Okay, so now I can see that the authentication is successfully created and the connection is validated. Now to push this PCF, I can write the command something like PAC PCF push, and what would be my publisher prefix. So like when this component is going to go in my environment, how the prefix is going to look like. So let's say we name this prefix as BTD for now. So PAC, PCF, push, and then publisher prefix. So that's all. If I click enter, first it is going to check if the PCF already exists in my environment. If it does, then it will do an incremental update. And as this iframe PCF is not there in my environment already, so I can see that it is doing a full update. The whole PCF will be, you can say pushed to that environment. And so what it does is it create a temporary solution wrapper. So in case my this push is failed, it's not going to harm the environment and push the half solution and something like that. So everything is copied as a temporary solution wrapper. And here, as we can see, that the import is started and it has 7 different steps to be carried out. So once all these 7 steps are completed, then it will finally push that solution, my PCF control, to the environment. So let's wait for it. So when I want to see that it will come into these solutions, Power Apps Tools _ BTD. BTD is the publisher that we have given as part of the code. And this is where like Power Apps Tools, it's automatically appended. So I have 2 components here right now. Let's see. Okay, so this solution import is successfully completed. Now, if I go and refresh the page here, so now I can see, okay, there is an iframe PCF. And if I go back to these apps and click on code, I can refresh this. And my iframe component should come here now. Yeah, I can see it, this iframe PCF. So this is how like you can build your components in the backend and test them here in the IE only, and then you can push them to your environment and use them directly in your applications. You just need to push that component into the environment, enable the setting in the admin center for Power Apps component framework. Then you can come here, add it to your app. Once it is added, it is going to come in the code components, and you can add them to the screen directly, like I just did. So for screenshot, I can change this text and all the properties we have in place. So like this is how you can work around with PCFs and start building your first PCF as well. So this was all from my side. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Or yes, do we have something on the chat?
So we have a question like, how can we debug a TS component?
So if you want to debug it, so if you'll run that component here in the terminal, you are going to get information about where that component is failing or what it is causing to fail. Or also you can add some breakpoints like this and debug it while running it. Okay, until this point my frame, this component is successful and I have to take care of this other part. And the third thing that you can use is write console log. So this can be just for development and you can remove them later, but you can check like, okay, what output is returned at each step and how am I going to move forward with the results. I hope that answers your question.
Got it. And then there's one more question, says that, can we bind a D365 record specified field value to Canvas PCF input parameter?
So if I get it correctly, so we are adding that D365 record as a data source here, and then we want to bind it, right? If that's the case, we can add that data source. If I go here in the advanced, I can see different properties. So if there is something that I want the reference to be passed, I can define a property and utilize that in my code there in the PCF control, and I can directly pass some variables and everything. This works like any other property you have on the Canvas app. So you can pass variables, anything from the app. But the main thing is like the format should be same. If it is expecting a text, you should pass a text. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Got it. Okay. And then there's one question that says, can we develop PCF components for Power Apps portals?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
And, so I mean, the process is still going to same, but
okay.
Yeah, we can develop for that.
Mm-hmm. And then can we build a control that can interact with a command bar?
When we say command bar, so what are we talking about? Like on the Canvas app?
I believe it is this expression bar, but yeah.
This one?
On a model-driven app, it says, how can we implement live reload on a model-driven app? Okay, I think this is another question here.
Okay, so maybe we can, when we are adding the component on the model-driven app, we can pass some reference. If that's not happening that way, maybe I have not tried it, but I think we can use something from the Ribbon Workbench as well for this case.
Got you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I have shared your contact information on the chat, Ritika. So folks, if you have any questions, please feel free to directly reach out to her. And I'm also sharing the link for the survey again. So if you can please provide the survey, that would be really helpful.
The QR code is on the screen if you want to refer.
And thank you so much for the insightful session, Ritika. So I hope it helped everyone over here. And thank you so much again for mentioning the iframe component. So,
I mean, that's my favorite PCF. I'm never, yeah.
I would someday trend something on Twitter saying that mark out your favorite PCF. So I would expect more hashtags for the iframe, but yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, thank you, everyone. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And that's it. Thank you all. Over to you, Yash.
Yeah. So our next session is from Baris Kanlika. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correct. Baris, are you on the